Comparison of events in Iran and Venezuela. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Just recently, a real nuclear bomb-level incident broke out. In the international situation, the United States took direct action. The arrest of Venezuelan President Maduro took everyone by surprise. As soon as this news came out, it can be said that the whole network was shocked, and the whole world was shocked. Many people are lamenting that Trump did such a good job this time, and it was simply a thunderous method. But at the same time, there are many different voices appearing online. Today's video contains a huge amount of information. I will take you beyond the surface to understand the game between great powers and they. Conduct a hardcore deduction on the psychology of dictators and the underlying logic of the situation in the Taiwan Strait. It is recommended that you like and save it first, and we will go directly to the topic. Procedural justice or meat grinder. Some left-leaning bloggers, such as Story, severely criticized Trump's action as procedurally unfair and said it failed to pass the approval of the U.S. Congress. It has not received authorization from the United Nations. To be honest, this view is not only nitpicky, it is downright bookish. Think about it, everyone. What are the core success factors for this level of decapitation or arrest operations? It's absolutely confidential. If you had to go to Congress for several rounds of debates and go to the United Nations to argue for half a month, the news would have been leaked 800 times. Can the action still be accomplished? To put it bluntly, if we want to pursue so-called procedural justice, do we have to formally declare war first? Then both sides sent tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of young soldiers to the front lines to serve as cannon fodder. In the end, countless casualties were all children of us, ordinary people. But the high-level decision-makers were unscathed. This traditional war model is the worst for the common people. But dictators are the happiest because unless their own army is completely destroyed, otherwise it would not be their turn to face danger. Trump has absorbed the essence of Chinese chess, this time direct checking. Catch the thief, first capture the king. He directly created a new model of let the leader go first without sacrificing civilians or even low-level soldiers. In my opinion, there is no need to pile up the bones of the lower-class people to build victory. This is the greatest democracy, the greatest human rights, and the greatest justice. Until there is a better and more perfect solution, this is the temporary optimal solution to deal with the rogue regime. Is the motive profit or justice? In addition to procedural issues, some people criticize the U.S. action as not for justice, just for your own benefit. On this point, I remain firmly with Trump. History and reality have taught us countless times. Don't easily believe those who shout lofty slogans. As the saying goes, words are all about ism, but hearts are all about business. Those slogans are so loud that they always say for all mankind. The grand narrative of sacrifice the ego for the sake of the overall situation often ends up creating hell on earth. On the contrary, mature market economies have long proven a common sense when rules encourage everyone to protect private property rights. When working hard to obtain profits for their own small families, the lives of ordinary people are the happiest and happiest. The richest. The United States wants to uproot a dictatorship for its own national interests. And it was done at a very small cost, which is a good thing worthy of praise. Does the United States have to be selfless and willing to harm its own interests to fight for the liberation of all mankind? Is that considered politically correct? We cannot forcefully oppose Trump for the sake of opposing Trump. Iran and Venezuela are in conflict. After this incident happened, the domestic media analyzed it overwhelmingly. Said that Venezuela has long been infiltrated into a sieve by the United States. The people inside are all bribe traders, which is why Maduro fell so easily. If the top management of Dongda China also fully accepts this attribution analysis, then the next script will be very scary. Here we must introduce an extremely important reference point for comparison: Iran. If you carefully observe the authoritarian camps in the world today, you will find that they are actually divided into different models. Venezuela, Syria, and the former Bangladesh are half-baked dictatorships. They wanted to gain both power and economy, and they did not completely cut off contact with the outside world. The result: the brainwashing of the common people is very incomplete. When faced with a crisis, the people below can betray the leader at any time for profit, causing the tree to fall and the hosen to scatter. But Iran is completely different. In recent years, how many high-level officials in Iran have been physically transcended by Israel and the United States? From Soleimani to President Raisi to Khamenei, the entire team was targeted for killing. It stands to reason that with the leadership being killed like this, the country should have collapsed long ago, but Iran can still hold its ground. Keep resisting. Why? Because Iran has extremely tight religious ideological control. Brainwashing goes deep into the bone marrow, forming a resistance machine that does not rely on a single leader. Now, as expected, Khamenei's son continues to take over. Another extreme case is the Kim family of North Korea. The country was closed to the outside world and ruled by the Iron Curtain. The people were so hungry that they ate grass roots and tree bark. We must also shed tears and praise the kindness of the sun. The power is so stable that even a teenage girl can successfully take over. The inevitable logic behind Dongda's accelerated left turn. The top leaders of Tokyo University saw the fragility of Venezuela, then looked at the tenacity of Iran and the absolute security of North Korea. What conclusion will they draw? The answer is self-evident. They will never think that opening up in accordance with public opinion is the way out. On the contrary, they will deeply believe that Venezuela collapsed because the brainwashing was not thorough and the control was not strict enough. On the one hand, for the sake of their own absolute safety, leaders would argue that thought control must be elevated to the level of Iran or even North Korea. On the other hand, the Security Department finally had an excuse to take full power. Economic technocrats will be completely marginalized. Next, counter-espionage and counter-infiltration will become the overriding top priority. The entire society will accelerate towards the extreme left, and economic development will be completely given way to national security. This is a dead end caused by top-down security anxiety and bottom-up power instincts. The ultimate countdown to the situation in the Taiwan Strait. Finally, we turn our attention back to the Taiwan Strait. What does Maduro's arrest mean to Taiwan and the University of Tokyo? As a democratic society, Taiwan's system is extremely resilient. The military and civil servants in a democratic country are loyal to the constitution and system, not to any individual. If something unexpected happens to the president of Taiwan, the vice president will take over immediately. In the absence of the vice president, the executive yuan will take over. The system will still function normally. After experiencing this incident, Taiwan will most likely further improve the order of power transfer under the state of emergency and select the more determined resistance faction as the core deputy, making the decapitation tactic lose its strategic significance. But for Tokyo University, the opposite is true. The most taboo thing in a dictatorship is the number two, and everything is determined by one figure. Once something happens to the leader, the entire power system will instantly fall into a vacuum and civil strife. In order to prevent a fire in the backyard during the attack on Taiwan, and to take action before U.S. military aid fully armed Taiwan, Dongda is likely to be forced to advance the timetable of military reunification. But before taking action externally, there is a rigid prerequisite: the internal situation must be settled first. This perfectly closes the loop of our previous deduction. If in the future, everyone has seen that the counter-espionage campaign within Dongda is getting more and more crazy. The purges are becoming more and more ruthless, and the Iron Curtain that secludes the country is getting tighter and tighter. Don't think this is just a simple internal purge. This is probably the dullest spring thunder before the ultimate storm comes. Thanks everyone for watching. If you agree with my analysis or have different opinions, please leave your thoughts in the comment area. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the little bell. We will have an in-depth introduction in the next issue. See you there.